So the U.S. election for the presidency is drawing ever closer. And I've received a number of PMs and I've seen comments every now and then asking me to offer my 2 cents on the issue. And for the most part, I've avoided talking directly about Trump and Clinton, which is to say, by way of comparison, other channels, someone like Stefan Milieu, who just talks about it nonstop, I don't talk about it a whole lot. And there are a number of reasons for this, and I'll go into that in a bit. But I'm going to be dividing this video up into essentially 2 or 3 different bits. The first part of this video is going to be about Trump and my thoughts on Trump and his relationship to the internet and how the internet is related to the reality outside of the internet reality. And after I cover that, I'll be talking about Clinton and what's sometimes referred to as the acceleration effect. And then finally, a synthesis of how that all gets mixed up and mashed up and what the end result of that is. Now, with regards to Trump, increasingly, I don't think he's going to get elected. This is because I've looked at some of the polls, some of the trends, but this isn't the only reason. And I'm not someone who is trying to turn Trump into some sort of hero or paragon of virtue or a clarion of all that is good. Because that is a tendency you see on the internet or listen to. I mean, Stefan Milieu, the way he puts it and paints it, seems like Trump is almost this sort of last hope, the last white hope for civilization or what have you. And, you know, Stefan is a great populist and an extremely skillful creator of content that tends to follow the direction of the wind. And these days it is Trump and showing favoritism towards him. It doesn't mean that I like Clinton. I just don't think Trump's going to win. But I do think he's better. I've said this before on this channel. I'll say it again. One of my great hopes, to use that horrible word that I don't even like using, is that whoever gets in office, I really hope that person does not start World War III or even begin an approximation of something that could turn into a World War III. That includes, of course, unnecessary hostilities between Russia and the United States. I don't want that. I think a lot of people don't want that. Trump is new and fresh. I mean, overall, he would be better, in my opinion, than Clinton for those reasons. Less likely to start proxy wars, World War III, but I don't think he's fantastic. Regardless, though, I don't think he's going to win. And one of the reasons why I think this is very unlikely, possible but very unlikely, is to do with the phenomenon of the internet. Now, when you exist in the environment of the internet, such as I do, I mean, beyond Thinking-Ape, I have my commercial endeavors on the internet, and everything I do is on the internet, whether it comes to income. Most of my closest friends these days are from the internet. So it's just, I live and breathe the internet, for better or worse. It's very easy to get a distorted picture of reality, which is to say, the reality outside of the internet. On the internet, it seems like Trump is a shoo-in. I'm talking about the feels and the vibes and the things that you look at on YouTube in particular. You know, the Pepe the Frogs and all of that. You think, wow, look at the support. Because, of course, it's the younger generation, not even my generation, but the generation younger than mine, the millennials, the in-betweeners. I mean, they're the ones most active on the internet, and they show this overwhelming support for Trump. Support that is completely lacking in the case of Clinton, of course. And then you jump to the conclusion, quite possibly, wow, you know, he stands a really good chance. But I have deep, deep doubts and skepticism regarding the transferability of internet enthusiasm into real support. Now, someone told me I'm biased because of my Ron Paul experience back in the day, but it's not just that. I'm talking about the ability of the internet to truly change the course of mainstreamism, to use that term, a sort of umbrella term to describe, or the kingdom of normies. Let's take the MGTOW phenomenon example. I mean, it started off as an internet phenomenon, caught fire. You could say, wow, you know, MGTOW as a phenomenon was really successful. I mean, internet, all internet, and then it influenced men's lives and blah, 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 and they're doing things differently. But for good or for ill. I'm not casting judgment. It was never my purpose to missionize or to be a missionary of MGTOW. Most guys are still doing their thing. They're still getting married. They're still doing all that stuff. Whether that's good or bad, I'll just say whatever, But that's what they're doing, which is to say that in actuality, the phenomenon of MGTOW, which was born on the internet, didn't have that much effect on real life or the normal course of things. And I think what we're going to see with the election, the forthcoming election, is not too dissimilar with regards to Trump. A lot of enthusiasm, a lot of passing of knowledge and information, a lot of videos, all of this stuff going on the internet. And it's very tempting to get sucked into the enthusiasm, especially if you spend 24/7 on the internet like I do. Well, not quite. I don't sleep much, but still. Even if you're not even if you don't earn all your income on the internet, everyone's a participant. Everyone is always on the internet to some degree, right? I mean, there are very few people who will go an entire day without touching the internet. I don't know any. I'm sure they exist, but despite that, I don't think the internet enthusiasm will transfer over to reality. Now, it's an interesting question in general because the internet's a pretty young phenomenon. I mean, if we want to be conservative, we could say the internet in its current form, of course, it's always changing, but in a form that resembles what we know today or have referred to as the internet for a while. It's been around for about 2 decades, 20 years, right? I want to be a little bit more liberal and generous when I say 25 years. Now, there's a real sociological question you can pose here with regards to internet and reality, social reality. How long does it take for various phenomena on the internet to take hold of reality? Is there lag? No pun intended. Is there a kind of a social lag that when you see things happening on the internet, which is its own reality, which arguably is sort of the cultural trendsetter, how long does it take for that, all that stuff, to have an effect, a tangible effect on our surroundings as, living meat body machine things, the world of meat. Not a nice term, but kind of stole that from Millennial Woes. I think he used the term the world of meat. In any event, that's an interesting question, and I think in the ensuing decades, one could engage in sociological study as to what the effects of internet trends are and how long it takes for them to have an effect in reality. But for now, there's lag, and I think that lag, even if we were to say that the entirety of the internet or the majority of the internet supports Trump, which I don't think is true. There's still plenty of people like the not-so-young Turks and their ilk who are reluctantly getting behind Clinton. I just don't see this transferring over to reality because the internet is the internet. There are other reasons for me to believe this. I'll give you a random example. So I have tons of people on my channel now these days who've taken up the pen name, the handle Adolf Hitler, Adolf Hitler, and saying all the intended things you would expect an Adolf Hitler handle to say. That's very internet-y. I don't think most people, that same guy, would meet new people and say, "Hey guys, I'm Adolf Hitler," and gas the Skypes or whatever. I don't think that would happen. We're not there yet. If we want to ever get there, that's an entirely different question. I don't really think that would be a terribly good thing, but the point is that there's a lot of stuff on the internet. That's a really extreme form or a very, unique example that you just can't do in so-called polite society. And when it comes to trends, I think it's pretty similar. So I think a lot of the enthusiasm is just limited to sort of cyberspace. And the world of meat will be largely unaffected. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because as I finish this part up, let me talk a little bit about Clinton and the acceleration effect. And Clinton will probably win the presidential election just because, if only because of internet lag, as I referred to it just prior. The fact that trends and tendencies in the internet take a while to gain a foothold in the reality of the world of meat. Well, this is, some people are prognosticating. I'm not a political prognosticator, clairvoyant. Oh, this is just terrible. And Stefan's saying, oh, if she gets in, then it's the end of everything. Maybe, but here's the thing about Clinton, right? People don't trust her. I mean, she is the epitome of establishment, as is her husband. People increasingly have just this incredible distrust towards the government, towards politicians, policymakers. Anything that comes from the mouth of a politician, I mean, it's almost a gut reaction. It's like instinctively, jumping back when you see a venomous snake or something. Nobody trusts what they say. And maybe some of the things they're saying are true, but nobody trusts them regardless. And with Clinton in office, what you might see is, in effect, is this acceleration effect. The fact that as people's distrust grows, and you have more establishment and more of the same and more of a business of usual and more of, globalism. I hate that term, but yeah, I mean, it's apt. People will react by saying, no, we need to counter this. And of course, it's all going to take place on the internet initially, and it's going to grow on the internet. But within a long enough time frame, or time span rather, you could well see some serious changes, which is to say, given sufficient time, the internet lag, which will probably end up foiling the election for Trump, will transform into tangible results because people will be tired of Clinton. They're thinking she'll start another proxy war. Maybe I'm just making this up, but maybe she'll invade the Nigerian Delta. She certainly has hostile intentions towards Russia. That's great. We need even more of that. I remember the end of the Soviet era, and I don't want that. I think most sensible people don't want that either. So distrust and loathing will be at an all-time high, which will, for the next election cycle, possibly set the situation up such that people who do not know where to go will be more open or sort of on the fence now towards a Trump-like figure. I mean, it probably won't be Trump. He'll be 74, 75 by then. But regardless, it'll be someone of a similar mindset, or at least someone who's different, who's not rigidly establishment or what have you. So the acceleration effect could be a really positive thing long term, even provided Clinton gets in office. If not, I just don't think Trump's going to win. I don't see the evidence for it in reality. Because remember, the other thing about the internet is people who spend all their time on the internet, we get a distorted picture of the world of meat. Denizens of the internet don't really participate in politics. I mean, their participation in politics is, posting various mutations and incarnations of Pepe the Frog, putting 6 brackets around people to indicate that they're Skypes or whatever. Even the term Skype, Google, and Skittle. I mean, that's all internet speak. I mean, maybe there's some legitimacy of it is unimportant here. The point is that all these phenomena that we see, are just limited to the internet. And I just don't think you're going to see huge voter turnout from Pepe the Frog posters. And I think there's going to be too much lag for Trump to be successful there. But the silver lining is the acceleration effect. And assuming Trump doesn't get elected, all the crap that Clinton will inevitably do, the provocation, the hostilities, the possibility of proxy wars, this will turn people off even further. Her being way too open on open borders, people are going to get skeptical and they're going to think, no, this is not what I want. And they're going to be desperate for an alternative. And that alternative will have to sound something somewhat similar to Trump, or at the very least have to be a radical departure from Clintonian madness or the business as usual model. That's what I think. But to be honest, as someone who's interested in sociobiology, I'm most interested in the question of internet lag. I mean, how long does it take for various internet phenomena to take hold in reality, to affect the world of meat? I don't honestly know, and I don't think we have a long enough time span to give a real estimation of that or to gauge that. But I think that's a really interesting question beyond the question of the election. Let's just hope, assuming Clinton gets in, I think she will, we will not have to worry about World War III or some new set of proxy wars. I mean, this woman is absolutely power mad. There's no doubt about it. And she might, in some megalomaniacal fashion, think that she wants to get in office to do good for the world. But I think she has very little positive in her political background, very little in the way of accomplishments, and her intentions and doublespeak. It's all very, very disconcerting. But I think we will be stuck with her, so we need to brace ourselves. Embrace yourselves for the acceleration effect. Be prepared to see more alt-right stuff, for better, for good, or for ill. More anti-SJWism, more anti-PCism. In the end, this might be a good thing. It might create that momentum, that impetus to destroy the ever-powerful pall of political correctness that has just fallen over all Western civilization. That's my main thing. That's my main issue. I want people to be able to speak their minds, and I want scientists above all to have open discussion on topics that are deemed too controversial, and maybe that will happen if Clinton's in office. Maybe not. I'm, like I said, not a clairvoyant, not a political prognosticator. So, in answer to various questions and queries, that is what I think about the election. I think Clinton will win. I don't think Trump can win. I think it's a lot to do with this weird internet lag, internet interface with the world of meat. So, everyone, thanks for tuning in, and I will check you out quite soon. More material, as usual, more perspectives, and some more esoteric stuff as well. So, take care and enjoy the rest of your week, and bye-bye. And as always, may Zeus watch over you. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.